Hi everyone, Jason Spengler, the Santee Swapper, back with another episode of Scouting Hot Finds Live. Now, honestly, coming into the new year, I actually had planned to just skip this week. I looked at my schedule and everything I had going on and decided, yeah, maybe I can start back next week. But I got a package in the mail yesterday and I said, oh man, I really want to open this. I want to open it online. And I said, maybe I can just package this and let this be episode 9 of Scouting Hot Finds Live. So what I did was I did a little bit of homework so that I could kind of tell you more about the story of the items that are in this package. And I thought, yeah, that actually might be a good idea for a show. So that's what we're going to have. This is a really cool collection. It's a 1929 World Scout Jamboree participant, a guy here on his eagle. He went to the 1929 Jamboree. He was born in 1912. And while I was staffing a winter camp, I spoke to his daughter on the phone who was interested in trying to find a new home for his scouting memorabilia. She and I talked. I made her a very strong offer that she agreed to, and she mailed it to me. And I just got it in the mail yesterday. So I didn't really film this with the intent of showing her me unboxing this and kind of going through and explaining everything. But I am going to share it with her because I think she would appreciate her father's scouting legacy being shared and maybe used to teach a little bit of scouting history in terms of the memorabilia and what he did. So in the package, I know there was a sash from 1929. Well, there's his merit badge sash, which I believe he has 42 merit badges. And then I think, I don't know this for sure, there might be some other things in there. I think a picture of him maybe, and I'm just not sure what else is in there. It's not a very big package. So I'm not sure. I'm looking forward to opening it up. But what I decided to do was I decided to go and do some research on each of the merit badges on the sash because you'll see it's a pretty impressive sash that's really, really vintage. And so I thought, well, in order to really draw out the history, maybe I could talk a little bit, like I have in some of my other videos, about how merit badges in some ways have stayed the same, in many ways have changed, and the Boy Scouts have been around for over 100 years. And so that's kind of what I decided to do with this. I'm also experimenting, so pardon the technical difficulties if they pop up. I'm experimenting with a couple of different layouts as I get to know this StreamYard platform. So for the first time in one of my Scouting Hot Finds Live videos, we're going to try an external camera and see if I can pull off some little bit of Hollywood magic here. So this is the package that I've been kind of going on about. And like I said, just came to me in my UPS store where I rent a box. So let me open this up. Don't have a fancy pocket knife today. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors and we'll get into here. So I probably will save the sash for last because that's what I've done all my homework on, and we'll see what else is in the package that she included. All of this is going to make just a terrific display, so that at summer camp next year, when I'm playing summer camp director and Matt Zelk and I do our uh, pop-up museum on Tuesday nights, this might be something that I can display. Matt and I kind of go back and forth about each summer about what our topic is going to be. 2 summers ago, my focus was merit badge sashes, and this would have fit perfectly in with that display. But we'll see if this goes. All right, got some stuff here. Let's open it up. Let's see what all is in the package. All right, so here's the sash. Woohoo. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this. So she actually made me some photocopies of stuff. And so he had a journal that he kept. And I think she told me that she had really not looked at this in a long, long time. And I asked her for copies of it. And so this is the first time I'm seeing it. So it's titled here, My Trip Across the Ocean. How cool is that? And it looks like she just went to a Kinko's or a place. And it's a handwritten journal, the places that he visited: 1929, July 14th, July 16th, July 20th. And each of these days he has some things scribbled down. So um, let's see here. I'll just pick a day: August 9th, 1929. Arrow Park to Bolton. So Arrow Park was the location in London of the 1929 World Scout Jamboree. This was the third World Scout Jamboree. The first one was held in 1920, also in London. The next one was held in 1924, I believe, in Denmark, and then the 1929. And so Arrow Park was the location of the Jamboree. And so here's what he said: we left camp at 7:30 for, and I can't read all this, Printon, where we caught a streetcar for the Woodside station at Birkhead. From there, we caught a train to Bolton, a town of 200,000 people. Thousands welcomed us upon our arrival. Then we boarded buses and we went to the um, bottom wells where we were shown the different processes that cotton passes through before it becomes yarn. Then we went to the Bolton High School and had lunch. From here, we went to um, my board hall in the wood where Compton invented the spinning mule. Uh, Bungalow Gardens, it goes on. Victoria Square, the mayor was there. Oh man, August 10th, August 11th, August 13th. It goes on and on. He actually has a lot of entries here, all the way to in August 23rd. He's in Paris. You can imagine what an amazing trip this would have been for a young man at that time. August 28th, they had breakfast and they're going off. August 31st, they are gone for a long time. September 3rd, still going, still going. September 5th, September 6th. Man, that was a long trip they went on. But this is really cool. I'll have to spend some time reading through this. My trip across the ocean. That's well aptly named. And then he has here a small folder. Let's see what's in this guy. All right. So looks like cool, very cool. Oh man, love this. All right, so here's a picture. Actually, you know what? I should use my external camera, right? Isn't this why I have the external camera hooked up? Oh, that's a cool picture. Y'all gonna like this. All right, let's try this external camera now. So there's a picture of the guys on the trip to the World Jamboree. And you can see there, I'm trying to get the glare is a little tough. Sorry about that. See those guys. And then this is a picture of her dad, whose name was John, but he went by Jack. And here's some other pictures of him as well. So she just wrote a note here that she gave me the original of this one, but these are some other pictures of him as a scout. There you can see him as well. And then he was in the Norwella Council, and pull this out as well. And so he was in the Norwella Council, and he was a junior assistant scoutmaster, and that is dated 1928 or 29. I can't quite make it out upside down. So cool stuff there. And then this has got some other personal stuff as well. I'll switch the camera back over to me. So this is some more personal stuff here as well. I want to read this as well. Looks like he his scout record, he kept lots of journals and such. He said, I joined the Boy Scouts of America, Norwella Council in Shreveport, Louisiana, early in 1926. While a scout, I attended summer camp in 1926, 27, and 28. And it continues. I'll read that for you guys. These same years, I participated with my troop in 3 tri-state jamborees. I was entered along with other scout mates in a total of 7 events, and we won 7 first places. Wow. The events in question were the O'Grady drill, signaling, knot tying, and wall scaling. I attained the grade of Eagle Scout and earned better than 50 merit badges. In 1929, I was one of 4 scouts selected to represent Norwella Council at the International Scout Jamboree, Birkenhead, England. I resigned from scouting in the early 1930s at the age of 17 with the rank of junior assistant scoutmaster. Before attaining this rank, I was successfully the assistant patrol leader, and senior patrol leader of my troop. In another area here, he mentions that he was elected to the Order of the Arrow. Trying to see if anything else. So I guess that would have been his career. So, like a lot of guys, he did some fantastic stuff in Scouts, and probably didn't return to the program, perhaps because he didn't have any children. Not really sure about that, but he mentioned here in sort of his memoir about his time in scouting. So that is very cool. I'm going to set all this to the side. Thanking her for sending me that, and also taking the time to photocopy that journal. That'll go really well with everything there. All right, he mentioned in his notes that he had earned over 50 merit badges. I believe she told me there's 42 merit badges on this sash. Let me just kind of, this is my first time seeing it in person. So let me just kind of look at it real fast and kind of see what we've got. Ooh, that is a beautiful sash. So what I've done for you is I've actually got a picture that I'll throw up here in a second so you can have a really good look at this. And what I'd like to do is kind of walk through some of the history of the merit badges on this sash. Now, a couple of things just to point out, and maybe this would be another time for me to use this camera. I'll slide it under there and show you guys. Oh, we'll flip it upside down. So one of the things that happens with merit badges of this time period is that they were issued as full squares, and so we would call this Type A if we were to use a cataloging system. And so, in fact, I could just kind of show you this book here. This is what I used to do my research. This is the fifth edition. There actually is a sixth edition, but this is the Merit Badge Field Guide by Fred Dirch Jr. You can probably get one on Amazon if you're looking for one, or maybe on eBay. I'm not sure, but this is a great resource with color pictures of all the merit badges ever issued. And then it tells you the different types and such. And also gives you a little bit of the history background of when the designs changed, things like that. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So this is what a type A would be. These would have been squares. And so interestingly enough, Sally and I went back and forth a little bit when we were looking at her dad's sash. We think that some of, if not all of these merit badges are what's called folded under or tucked under. In other words, one of the reasons why the Boy Scouts eventually get away from these square merit badges is they're not very uniform in size. And so it looks like on some of these that mom may have just folded that extra material underneath that ring in order to make them look uniform on the sash. But if you were to, I'm not planning on doing this, but if you were to take the merit badges off the sash, probably it would fold back out and you would see a full square. She was kind of showing me that with some of the stuff that she had when she was sending it to me. And as I kind of feel these and pinch them, I know it's a little weird again to say, but I can feel these are really, really thick, which leads me to think that there is a good bit of material just tucked underneath there on this merit badge sash. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to try and let's see if I get the right one. Let's go with this one. Yeah. So what I want to do now is I'm going to show you these merit badges and kind of give you a little bit of history here with this other screenshot I've got. So I'm going to zoom in and we're going to kind of start at the top of the sash and kind of talk about these. Now, again, he said he had over 50 merit badges. I think she counted 42. The first one at the top is kind of interesting because this merit badge is farm layout and building arrangement. So I'm talking about this merit badge right here. This is one of those farming merit badges. There were about four different ones that had to do with farming. And this one did not even come out until 1930. So what's interesting to me is that he earned this having gone to the 1929 World Jamboree. So he didn't stop in 1929 with his scouting. And also what you see is that this merit badge is at the top of his sash. So I'm going to sort of go out on a limb and say that I think maybe mom added an extra row at the top. Like maybe his first merit badge was really the one below that. Mom, trying to find space on the sash, added a row there, and that might would explain why one of what I think is one of the last merit badges he earned was on the very top row of his sash. So again, that's farm layout and building arrangement 1930 until 1959 when the Boy Scouts start to get rid of some of those farming merit badges. The next one you're going to recognize, obviously, horsemanship. Although the modern merit badge, horsemanship, does not have this horseshoe design, you would recognize it has more of a horse, the side of a horse face. Now, this next one, this will be kind of a little bit of a game here as we go along. This next one, you might think that is corn farming. No, it's actually gardening merit badge. So gardening merit badge from 1911 to 1939 looked like that. Later, the gardening merit badge is going to have more of a group shot of different vegetables that you would grow. But yeah, the original gardening merit badge had that corn. All right, the next one here. This is a merit badge here. Pottery started in 1927. The design of this merit badge has not changed all these years. The current pottery design still the same. Now, this next one here, you would recognize that. That's actually carpentry merit badge, 1911 to 1952. And this one, the design doesn't look like this today, but you probably can easily figure out that's electricity, 1911 to 1962. This next merit badge, I'll sort of scroll them up here and keep blowing this up. This next one is really common. I mean, good gosh, almost everybody I come across seem to have earned this merit badge, and that is firemanship merit badge. That's the design for that merit badge from 1911 to 1968. Previously, the ubiquitous one of the top five merit badges of earned of all time, camping, starting in 1911, and that design goes until 1968. This one was a little different. This one I had to really actually do my homework on using Fred's book. So this merit badge is actually craftsmanship from 1911 to 1925. You could have earned different. There was different craftsmanship merit badges. I believe there were 8 different craftsmanship merit badges. They were all represented by that patch. And then this became a separate merit badge, craftsmanship, in 1927. A little hard to know based on the time period he was in scouting whether he would have earned this as the standalone craftsmanship merit badge or one of those that was, craftsmanship and this and that and the other. But that's what that merit badge is. The next one you probably would recognize, but it's not the same as the current one, and that is woodworking merit badge. So this is woodworking right here, and in 1927 is when it came out. Then in 1952, it merges with carpentry merit badge, and of course, it's going to have then a different design, but this was woodworking originally. This next one here is pathfinding. This is another merit badge that we don't see today from 1911 to 1952. That was pathfinding merit badge. And then everybody knows what this one is, right? This is scholarship, whose design has never changed for over 100 years from 1911 all the way to the present. Same can be said of safety merit badge. The design has never changed. Safety, however, was not one of the original merit badges. It started in 1927, but that design is through to now. Now, everyone's going to look at this merit badge and say, oh, I know what that is. That's personal fitness, right? Well, this is actually personal health merit badge, 1911 to 1951. Then it merged with another merit badge called physical development and became the modern day personal fitness merit badge that some of us would know. This next merit badge is kind of interesting because you can tell that it's got a different coloration than the other merit badges. This, of course, is public health merit badge, which was one of the originals, 1911, all the way to the present. But when you look at that different color, it's possible that this is one of those variations that, well, when you get down into Fred's book, he has a whole section about teens varieties. So in the teens, which would have been the first decade of the Boy Scouts of America, there was a lot of inconsistency with the merit badges in terms of the color, sometimes even with the stitching. And so that one really kind of sticks out like a sore thumb for having a totally different coloration and such. So that could be one of those teen varieties that just was the one that they gave him in the Norwilla Council when he earned his merit badge. The next one is really easy to spot. The same design. That's Art Merit Badge. It's an original merit badge, 1911, all the way through to the present. The next one you might would recognize this too, because this is a merit badge that we still see the same design today. In his day, this was called Handicraft Merit Badge, 1911 to 1942. But in 42, it becomes Home Repairs, and that's how we would recognize it today. Now, this next guy here, you can easily pick out what that is. You might not know the name of it. Back in the day, this is a 1914 merit badge. This was called poultry keeping. And so the design changed in 1975 to have a more colorful rooster. And eventually, this merit badge gets merged in with several other of these farming merit badges to become animal science. The next one right here, you will recognize as well if you've seen a lot of old merit badge. This was earned by a lot of guys. This was Civics Merit Badge from 1911 up until the end of World War II. This was called Civics. After World War II, it becomes citizenship. And then what happens is it splits off, and you have this program we're all familiar with: sit in the community, sit in the world, sit in the nation. They even had a citizenship at home before they had Family Life Merit Badge. The next one in the middle, this is automobiling. And so you might recognize this later. It becomes automotive safety. This is the first design of automobiling. Later, as this design changes, and there's actually a little red car. And then it becomes automotive safety as the modern merit badge. The next one up is printing. So that design actually lasted a long time, all the way up from 1911 to 81. Then it became kind of merged and became printing slash communication. And then it eventually becomes part of graphic arts merit badge in 1987. All right, here's another OG chemistry merit badge. This design has never changed. So from 1911 to present, that is chemistry merit badge. This one actually threw me off just a little bit. You can see that the design there says conserve. So this is conservation merit badge from 1911 to 1952, where it eventually becomes wildlife management merit badge that you will definitely recognize with that deer design on it. Here's another OG. What I mean by that is one that's never changed, and that is plumbing. This design is still the design. That's from 1911 all the way through. Same can be said of life saving from 1911 to present. That's the same merit badge. This is an obscure merit badge. You don't see very many of them. This is blacksmithing. That's an anvil, if you can kind of tell by the design, 1911 to 1952. This next guy over here, many of you are going to look at that and say, oh, that's leather work. Well, not in Jack's era. In Jack's era, that was called leather craft from 1927 to 1952, when it eventually does emerge with a badge called leather work, and it has an awl. You might have seen that too if you're familiar with these old badges. All right, we'll keep going up. This next one, I always have fun with scouts because if you look at this patch by itself, you're going to say, what in the dickens is that? I have no idea what that is. Well, that is actually a plow because that is agriculture merit badge. From 1911 to 1975, agriculture merit badge existed. Eventually it merges with plant science, which is all of those other badges like cotton farming and all those badges, corn farming, they all merged to become plant science. This next one here again, one that's been around forever since the very beginning. So many people have earned this pioneering merit badge. The design that you're probably more familiar with has the pioneering tower. That came about in 1968, but from 1911 to 68, these two crossed tools were the design for pioneering. The next one is reptile study. I know a lot of you guys probably earned that at merit at summer camp. Well, you know that eventually it becomes reptile and amphibian study, and the design changes. So when I was a scout, I earned this merit badge, reptile study. But in 1993, they brought in the frogs, if you will, and made it reptile and amphibian study. All right, the next one, you will have seen this one before. Wood carving. Yeah, that design's been around forever. They changed the design just a little bit in 1968, but starting in 1927, this was wood carving merit badge. This next one, I also have fun with scouts whenever I look at this one. And by the way, you can see it has a different coloration. So this is another one I may have to do my homework and see, could this be a teens variety? One reason it could be a teens variety is maybe this was not a very commonly earned merit badge. And so there's several of those that have been around, or not many earned. And so in the scout shop, they may have given him an older one, even though he had gotten in the 1920s. So eventually, this becomes veterinary science in 1972, but it starts off in 1911 as first aid to animals. And so you see there's sort of a wounded dog there with a little bandage around his arm, and he's got the first aid sign there. The next merit badge is also one that the scouts rarely get when I'm doing these little presentations. That one is forestry. So there is sort of a pine seedling, if you will. And so that is the original design for forestry merit badge. Forestry was one of the 1911 merit badges, and that design changes like a lot of them in 1968. Then we'll keep going up. This next one here, you'll recognize that. That's not the current design. The current design has a cardinal on it, but this was a very early merit badge from 1914 to 68. That is bird study. Cooking, definitely, definitely an OG. The design changes just a little bit, but from 1911 to 1968, that was your design for cooking merit badge. This next one here, I just have to point this out in case Sally ever watches this video. Sally, your grandmother sewed this merit badge on upside down. No harm done, no foul done. But this is actually cement work, which was a merit badge from 1927 to 1952. And that is actually the top of the merit badge, and that's the bottom. So let's just spin that around in our head. Again, no big deal. Just pointing that out for fun. A little bit of trivia, if you will. All right, the next one, this is an OG. Design has never changed. You would instantly recognize painting merit badge, 1911 to the present. Same thing for first aid, 1911, original merit badge, all the way through. Design has not changed. Swimming merit badge, that's an easy one. You know, the design did change in the 1950s, where the bather goes from having that one piece to having a two piece. But that's still the one we recognize. Another one that's been around just forever and the design has not changed. This is architecture merit badge. Again, probably one that I would say not a ton of scouts probably earned, but from 1911 to present, that is architecture merit badge. This next one here is a little more obscure. That's kind of the interesting thing when you're looking at these old sashes. which merit badges are not really recognizable, which ones have not probably a whole lot of it earned. You can tell by this device here, and it's ironic that the piece I read out loud about his visit there in London talked about this. This is textiles merit badge. So from 1924 to 1968, that was the design for textiles merit badge. Then over here, many of you are going to say, "Oh, that's fishing." Well, you'd be right, except from 1911 to 51, that merit badge was called angling. All right. This next one, this could be, and I'll have to do a little homework in Fred's book. Actually, I could probably look in there right now if I wanted to. This next one is called Stalking Merit Badge. And Stalking Merit Badge was around from 1914 to 1952. The reason why I said I wanted to do a little homework is I was just kind of thinking that, again, going back to merit badges, this is probably one that not many scouts earns. I was just kind of curious to see, like during his time period, how many scouts earned Stalking Merit Badge. So according to this book here, and there's like, you know, basically of type, let's see, that's type B. Okay, if this is a full square merit badge, which I have all belief that it is, um, all the way through stalking merit badge with a cougar on it. Wow, this is kind of actually a pretty impressive number. Only 3,358 of these were earned, and the entire like from 19 that would have been from 1914 all the way up till square merit badges end around 1932. So less than 3,500 of these were earned. So this was a rare merit badge. Not a lot of guys got stalking. Probably pretty hard to get. Now, if you compare that just for fun, all right, just kind of give you the next one up is athletics, which that design has not changed at all. So just to give you the same number for athletics, Fred says, and this is all pulled out of BSA annual report data. That same time period, there was 126,000 athletics merit badges earned. So again, I think stalking right here would be a really rare merit badge, and then athletics not. This next one here is machinery, and that's from 1911 to again 1968, where they have all these design changes. Now this one, this might throw some of you off because this is not a very familiar merit badge. This is interpreting. Now, it was merit badge from 1911 to 1952, and then it merged into World Brotherhood, which is a merit badge that doesn't exist anymore now either. But that's what interpreting was. And then this is masonry. You probably can pick that out 1911 to 1995 with a trial. And then finally here, and this is kind of fun because this merit badge came back during the 2010 centennial. This is signaling merit badge from 1911 to 1991. And then you might know that eventually they sort of bring a piece of this back with signs, signals, and codes, a merit badge that is, today a modern merit badge. So, anyways, that is kind of the whole sash going through it. I think it's very, very cool to kind of see the whole sash. I can definitely see doing a display with the pictures and maybe some of the journal entries. Maybe I could type the journal entries up and have them kind of blown up a little bit bigger. Ryan Lasansky, you're rubbing off on me, man. I'm starting to think of ways that I can incorporate paper and pictures in with my scouting memorabilia. So, anyways, I wanted to record this episode again because number one, I didn't want to get off track with my Scouting Hot Finds Live, which normally is a weekly show, but also because of this beautiful sash, which I think is a great little piece of history. I wanted to share with everyone instead of just ripping it up, opening up myself, and then not really being able to share that with everyone. So one last thing, in case you're wondering, yes, behind me there is a really odd. Oh, how are you? Uh, so I got a collection. A guy actually drove to my warehouse and sold me a big collection of stuff right before the holidays. And one of the things that he had was this big giant sign that I believe was part of a camporee gateway. So he was a scoutmaster for many many years in East Carolina Council, and he described to me a gateway, and he had to exit his warehouse where he had his business because he was downsizing. And so he brought me all this stuff. I haven't figured out what's going to happen with that yet. It's a really pretty big. It's cool, but it takes up a lot of wall space. So I don't know. That might go to the Sleepy Poet Antique Mall and see if anybody there gets excited about it. But if you have use for a gateway, I've got a piece you might could use. So All right, everyone. I'll wrap it up there. Jason Spengler, the Santee Swapper. Definitely go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. That's where you can find everything that I have going on. Also, my link tree is over at santeeswapper.com. Linktree is just simply a one-page website, if you will, that has links to lots of different topics. And so, if you go to santeeswapper.com, you can kind of see everything that I'm doing. If you've watched all the way through and you're someone similar to Sallye who has a loved one's scouting memorabilia collection, you're just not sure really what to do with it, I would love to hear from you. Again, go to santeeswapper.com. You can get my contact information. Would love to talk to you about possibly purchasing that collection so that I can recycle it and enjoy it myself. All right. Thanks very much for watching. Jason Spangler, the Santee Swapper.